Is Jayson Tatum a superstar or is he not a superstar? I'm just astonished by how many videos are out there that talks about this subject. That was honestly going to be my original topic for this video. So to avoid getting lost in the shuffle, I decided to go over the top and just declare that Jayson Tatum is going to be an all-time great player within the next few years. But this ain't clickbait. This is just me mentioning the inevitable. Take a look at the numbers with me. Let's first talk about the type of season that Jayson Tatum had. He averaged 26.9 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, and 4.4 assists per game. Not bad numbers, right? Well, if that's how we think, then we are underselling that stat line in a major way. Let's look at the facts. There have only been 26 players in the history of the league that have averaged at least 26 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists in a season, according to StatHead. There is a list right there on your screen. 20 of those players are somewhere in my top 100 players of all time. You're not going to find one fraud in that list. Now, I don't know what your personal opinion of DeMarcus Cousins is, but I think we all know that he's not going to end up in the Hall of Fame. But if we're going to be fair, injuries didn't give him a fair chance to show his worth on a team with playoff aspirations. Other than that, he's in the company of some all-time great players. And he's already accomplished that in just his 5th season. It wouldn't be far-fetched to say that this won't be the last time that Tatum will accomplish this. So when it's all said and done, we will be saying that Tatum is one of the greatest all-around players in the history of the game. Here's another important stat. Jayson Tatum has a 4.5 defensive win shares, which was the highest mark in the league. Let's compare that to some of the greatest two-way players in history. That matches Kobe Bryant's career high, which he accomplished in 2000. That is also just below Dwayne Wade's career high. Now, we're not going to say that this is Jordan-esque or LeBron-esque. That number wouldn't hit their top 10. But he's right there with Kobe and Wade. So we can come to the conclusion that Tatum's one of the game's best two-way players. And you have a strong argument if you say he's the best. So apparently, his regular season numbers were a bit underrated if there's the constant debate if he's a superstar or not. But it's his playoff performance this year that has officially put Tatum on the map. He's had some legendary moments. We have his buzzer beater in Game 1 of the first round series against the Brooklyn Nets. Then we have the fact that he outplayed Kevin Durant during that series and gave KD the worst playoff defeat of his career. Durant averaged 26.3 points per game on 38% shooting. It was a team effort to contain such a legendary score, but Tatum was his primary defender. According to Sporting News, Tatum held him to 0 field goals in games 2 and 3, and within the first 3 games of the series, he shot 13.3% from the field when being guarded by Tatum. There were even times that he blocked Kevin Durant's jump shot. That is something that is extremely rare to see. That series proved once and for all how much he has improved as an individual defender, and we will forever point to this series as the ultimate example of how great he is on that end of the floor. Then against the defending champions, Jayson Tatum was able to produce a huge clutch performance with their season on the line. In Game 6 on Milwaukee's home floor, he had 46 points on 53% shooting, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 block. I understand that the Bucks were without Chris Middleton, and that was a big factor on why the Bucks fell just short of defeating the Celtics. But every time it seemed like the Bucks were going to run away with the series, Tatum had some answer that kept the Celtics alive. Game 4 was another example of that, when Tatum scored 12 points in the 4th quarter that prevented the Celtics from going down 3-1 in the series. And after a hard-fought series against the Miami Heat, he was able to lead his team to the finals while winning the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. We can't minimize how huge of an accomplishment this is to lead a team to the finals. We also have to factor in that he's only 24 years old. The reality is that it takes an extremely special player to lead a team to the finals at such a young age. Here are the players since 1980 who are under the age of 25 that have led their team to the finals along with their playoff per game numbers. With the exception of Dwight Howard, all of these players are somewhere in your top 15 players of all time list. And that's no knock on Howard, because we all know that he's going to end up as a first ballot Hall of Fame player. So the fact that Jayson Tatum has entered such an exclusive club of players gives us all the evidence that we need to say that Jayson Tatum is going to be one of the legends of the game. So let's put that list back up on your screen, and let's add Jayson Tatum's numbers after Game 4 of the finals. That looks up to par with the rest of the players on that list. So the question that I have is, why are we dismissing him so much after a few off games in his first appearance in the finals against a team that ended the season with the best defensive rating in the league? When the fact is that every single one of these players had off games in the finals. Let's be honest here. Larry Bird struggled so much that he lost the finals MVP to Cedric Maxwell. And then LeBron James had a god-awful shooting performance against the Spurs when he shot 38% from the field for the series. But we weren't giving them so much flack because we knew this was just the beginning of their journey. They still needed to develop as players, and all of them did exactly that. And we can say the same about Tatum. So yeah, he has some poor games in this series. So what? It doesn't take away what he already accomplished this year. But let's say he goes Dwayne Wade on us, and he ends up winning the title along with the finals MVP. Then what? Then he's going to be on the Shanghai Maglev, which is the fastest train on earth, and he's going to be on the fast track to basketball immortality. And he's going to zoom past so many all-time great players, and maybe he gets in the top 100. But that's a topic for another day. I promise you that. Putting the hypothetical aside, the one thing that he has earned is for us to stop questioning his basketball greatness. He is, without a question, one of the superstars of the league. Now let's take this another step further. If we account for the type of season he had this year, also the 2 other years that he reached the conference finals, then we have the fact that he led his team to the finals this year, and we can come to the conclusion that Jayson Tatum will be one of the greatest players in the history of the game. And as Bill Simmons would say, after he will compliment a Laker player in one of his articles, I will now light myself on fire.